And thank you so much. So this is my debut picture book. It's my very first picture book. So that means this is my very first independent bookstore day. So thank you for having me here on this independent bookstore day. And is everybody ready to make a little bit of noise today?
Yes.
Yeah? Ready to make some noise? And if you're not ready to make noise, don't worry about it either. When I was a kiddo, I was very nervous when people would say, "Oh, I'm gonna call on you out of the blue," and then I'd say, "Oh no, they're gonna call on me." Don't worry, I won't call on you. If you want to sing, you can. If you don't, that's cool too. You can just listen. But first, I want to ask you guys if you know the song "Old MacDonald Had a Farm." Does everybody know that one? Can we sing a little rendition of it now? Just a few things. So we'll start with the cow. And do we all know what sound a cow makes? Moo. That's right. What is it? What sound? Moo, yeah. That's right. All right, so get ready. Get your mooing voices on. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Let's do pigs next, and let's get really into it. I want to hear some snorts. I want to hear some, just whatever kind of a pig noise you want to make. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a pig, E-I-E-I-O. Here we go. With a point here and a point there. Here up, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. All right, sounds like you guys got it. Sounds like you know this song. But I want to tell you a little bit about why I wrote this book and sort of how the idea came to me. Because ideas come from very weird places sometimes in your brain. And this one came from the fact that, so we said a cow says moo, a pig says, you got that one wrong, George. So a cow says moo, a pig says oink. Let's see, what does a sheep say? All right, yeah. What noise does a dog make? George.
Yeah, sorry.
Missed it. You know, George, I was counting on you. What noise does a dog make? Right? So I heard some barks. I heard some people say roof. So when I came up with this, what about a horse? What noise does a horse make? Neigh. Neigh, right? That's the common one. But what other noises does a horse make? Whinny. Right? Can anybody do a whinny? How about that guy in the back there? No. Right? So animals can make all different noises. Sometimes with their mouth. Sometimes, what other noise can a horse make, but not with its mouth? Right? I can't do it with my guitar. It's in the way. But yes, they gallop, right? So I thought, what if these animals on Old MacDonald's farm, we all know what noises they make. What if they made unexpected noises? And that's when I wrote Old MacDonald Had a Farm. So the first one it's called Old MacDonald Had a Farm, E-I-U-F-O. So does everybody like aliens? Anybody into aliens here? What noise does an alien make? I don't know. We gotta make it up for ourselves, right? So I'm gonna go through one time with the book where I'm reading and singing with you all, and then I'll pull out the guitar and we'll do it all together again when everybody kind of gets the feel of this book. So this one, I wrote this book so I got to write what's called a dedication. A dedication is, who really inspired me and helped me make this book. We've got some of them here today. We've got my mom, Dad, Marcella, my wife couldn't be here today, Ezra, that's this guy right here, and then Naomi was my editor, and Danny is a really good friend of mine who helped me with this book. So it says, thanks for helping my dreams reach orbit. And then Benjamin, speaking of noises, this guy's from France, the guy who made the the guy who made the illustrations for the book, the person who drew them and colored them. His name is Benjamin in English, but he's from France, so he goes by Benjamin Show. And David Sedaris has entered the room, ladies and gentlemen. If you know David Sedaris, that's him right there. All right, so let's do a reading. Old MacDonald Had a Farm, E-I-UFO by Zach von Zonk. That's me. And illustrated by Benjamin Show. Hi, oh my gosh, you're so good. All right. So Ezra, I don't know if you want to come over here so you can see a little bit better. All right. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a spaceship? E-I-U-F-O. Uh-oh, he's coming towards the farm. What's going to happen? With a zerp zap here and a zerp zap there. Here a zerp, there a zap, everywhere a zerp zap. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I. Wow! What happened? His clothes came off. He's left in his underwear. Oh dear. Now we're at Old McMartian. So now the lyrics change to Old McMartian had a ship. Old McMartian had a ship. E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a cow. E-I-U-F-O. Now what noise is the cow gonna make? Uh-oh, he's eating everything. With a munch munch here and a munch munch there. Here a munch, there a munch, everywhere a munch munch. Old McMartian cried out loud, "Not my marshmallows." Oh, they took his marshmallows.
What like marshmallows?
Marshmallows, that would have been a good one. I should have used that. All right, now we're on to the pig. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a pig, E-I-U-F-O. Oh no, pigs are muddy. With a gloop glop here and a gloop glop there. Here a gloop, there a glop, everywhere a gloop glop. Old McMartian needs a bath. Mud got in my nose. Oh no. Now we're on to the cat. Oh, he's such a sweet cat. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a cat, E-I-U-F-O. Oh, he's gonna pet the sweet little cat. With a hiss scratch here and a hiss scratch there. Here a hiss, there a scratch, everywhere a hiss scratch. Old McMartian named the cat Furry Tornado. Oh dear. Old McMartian's going through it. Now we're on to the sheep. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had some sheep, E-I-U-F-O. With a ba-ba here and a ba-ba there. Here a ba, there a ba, everywhere a ba-ba. Old McMartian needs his sleep. Back to Earth you go. And look, all the animals got dropped down safely back to Old MacDonald's farm, and he's so happy. Even his clothes came back, so he doesn't have to be in his undies anymore. Uh-oh, look what happened. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a mess, E-I-E. Oh no. Oh dear. What happens when your parents tell you you have a mess in your room? What do you have to do?
I already cleaned my room.
You don't? Clean your room, right? Well, let's see what happens. But they cleaned up here and they cleaned up there. Here a fix, there a fix, then some messy dog licks. Have you ever had a dog lick your face, George?
My dog looks fine.
Yeah. Old McMartian hugged his dog. It's nice to be alone. The end. See, they fly off into space. And at the end, what do you think the cow's thinking of?
Moving to the moon.
Going to the moon. I like that. You should be a writer. Very good. All right, you all ready to sing now that you got the hang of this one?
Yes.
I need a volunteer to help me turn the pages. Oh, I thought you might want to help. Yes. This is my son Ezra, who's in this book right at the beginning of it. You got it, bud? All right, make sure you show everybody the pictures as you do it. You make sure to show everybody here, Ezra. All right. Clear your voices, everybody. Let's hear you clear your voices. Oh! All right. Ready, Ez? So show everybody the pictures. It's for them, all right? There we go. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a spaceship, E-I-U-F-O. With a zerp zap here and a zerp zap there. Here a zerp, there a zap, everywhere a zerp zap. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I. Whoa! Let's hear whoa. Everybody say whoa! All right, on to the cow. Old McMartian. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a cow, E-I-U-F-O. Munch munch, with a munch munch here and a munch munch there. Here a munch, there a munch, everywhere a munch munch. Old McMartian cried out loud, not my marshmallows. Marshmallows. All right, this time everybody sing it with Martian mellows. Ready? Not my marshmallows. Good one. All right, on to the pig. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a pig, E-I-U-F-O. The pig goes gloop glop with a gloop glop here and a gloop glop there. Here a gloop, there a glop, everywhere a gloop glop. Old McMartian needs a bath. My God in my nose.
I bet no one here would want to be the motion.
No. Although his ship would be cool to fly.
Anyone here would want to be a motion?
Anyone?
Yeah.
No. I kind of do, but just a little. Here we go. On to the... Which one's next, Ez? The cat. The sweet cat. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a cat, E-I-U-F-O. Oh, there's marshmallows floating around. All right, so we remember the cat goes hiss scratch. Ready?
Yep.
Turn the page, Ez. With a hiss scratch here and a hiss scratch there. Here a hiss, there a scratch, everywhere a hiss scratch. Old McMartian named the cat Furry Tornado. Now onto the sheep. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had some sheep, E-I-U-F-O. Now the ba's have to be extra loud. With a ba-ba here and a ba-ba there. Here a ba, there a ba, everywhere a ba-ba. Old McMartian needs his sleep. Back to Earth you go. And now there's a big mess. What are they gonna do? Oh, I don't know. Actually, I do, because we just read it. Old McMartian had a ship, E-I-U-F-O. And on that ship he had a mess, E-I-E, oh no. But they cleaned up here and they cleaned up there. Here a fix, there a fix, that's a messy dog licks. Old McMartian hugged his dog. It's nice to be alone. Thank you all so much for coming out today. If you'd like a book, you can grab one over here.